unbothered, unleashed, and totally unscripted. It's Beyond the Roar with football head coach Eddie George.
Welcome to Beyond the Roar with me, Eddie George, and today's guest is none other than the great Hue Big Daddy Jackson.
Thank you for having me, Coach. It's a pleasure and honor.
No, it's a pleasure and honor to have you, man. I mean, your resume speaks for itself. Former head coach for Cleveland and certain Oakland Raiders. Coming into the situation, I never thought that I would have a chance to work with you in this capacity. But it's been a wonderful honor to have you on our staff and to get to know you, the man, who you are as a coach, a head coach, very demanding. But I have to ask the question, and I don't think I asked this. When you got the call, I guess, was it from Jeff?
Yes, it was.
What was your initial reaction that when he said Eddie's going to be a head coach, and what are your thoughts? So what was your initial reaction?
You know what, Eddie? It was really interesting because when Jeff called and he said, Hugh, I have a possibility for you. And he said, Eddie George has an opportunity to become the head coach at Tennessee State. Mm-hmm. And I said, the Eddie George? And he said, yes, the Eddie George. And I said, you're sure now, the running back Eddie George? And he said, yes. And again, Eddie, from afar, I've always watched you. Admired your work, admired the man you are, all the business things you've done. Because, again, I study history that way. One of your good friends, Ray Lewis, is a real good friend of mine. You're the one person he talks about a lot. And so I was just surprised. And to me, I was looking for an opportunity to get back into football, been out of it for a while. And what better place to be than with someone who I respect, someone who I wanted to get to know, other than just knowing you from afar. There'd be no other way that I could do that without being on your staff. So it didn't take me very long to tell Jeff the next day I would love the opportunity.
Wow, that means a lot. So I have to be honest. Coming into the situation, I didn't have a long Rolodex of coaches that I called on. I mean, I called games and with Westwood One. I was on Fox. Built relationships over the years with head coaches, assistant coaches, but never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would be a head coach one day. I see what you guys go through. I see the grind. Well, what we go through now. Saw the grind. I saw the hours that you put into it. And I, quite frankly, at that particular time in my life prior to jumping into the situation, and I said this time and time again, I was content with where I was going in my business world and raising my sons and, playing golf and acting and television and film and on stage. I enjoyed that part of my life. So when I really looked at it, I said, ugh. If I do this, I can't just be the name in the face. There are certainly some things I don't know, and I'm comfortable with that. But what I can do is provide leadership, provide a culture, and give my coaches an opportunity to be their best selves.
Yes, you have.
And it's been amazing to see you in the role that you're in, because I have so much respect for you as a former head coach and now, offensive coordinator, how you've just been able to teach our kids. And we share some of the similar ideas in terms of what our expectations are.
Absolutely. Well, Eddie, the best part for me is when I got the call from you. When you told me I'm surprised to have this opportunity to be on the phone with you.
Yeah.
That meant the world to me because it meant that someone wanted me to be a part of what they were trying to accomplish. And after I got here, it's like anything. You don't know. I know of you, but I didn't know you. So it's like anything else. You were evaluating me. I was evaluating you.
Exactly.
That's just part of the process. And what I found was a guy who, from his heart, that this meant something to him. And that he was going to put anything and everything into this to make it work. That he was going to create an environment for his coaches to be great. He was going to create an environment for his players to be great. That he just wasn't gonna settle for, what the culture has been. You came here to be a culture changer, and the staff that you put together, I think it's a phenomenal staff. It's a young, energetic staff who love to teach. We flow from you. You know, it's a top-down situation. That's what it should be. Our directions come from you, and I think we're all excited about where we can go.
Yeah, absolutely. Making the train. Yeah, you've coached in college before, but it's been some time since then.
Yes, a long time.
What's been the biggest challenge for you coming back to the college ranks?
The biggest challenge for me, Eddie, is that I realize that these are young players, and I'm so used to giving a quarterback or a offensive unit information and for them to go grind on it, you know, and so they already have a starting point, you know, and they kind of understand where the ending point's going to be, and it's not like that, and that's not a problem. You have to kind of readjust how you teach. Make sure there's a starting point and an ending point for these young men. You have to teach it all. And it's really fun because it reinvigorates you, because you have to go back and find different ways to reach different players. And so it's been challenging, but a lot of fun for me.
You know what was funny is one of our first meetings, I said, Hue, you know, sit me down, treat me like a freshman quarterback coming in and walk me through it.
Yes,
you know, as I want to understand, you know, your philosophy, how you teach, how I'm able to pick up on certain concepts, given my background as a running back, teach me something that I don't know from that perspective. And I tell you what, my mind was spinning. I was like, damn, I thought I knew football, but I really don't. You know?
You do. But it came back to him really fast.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
It's like getting on that bike again. I was like, okay, that's 4-3-4, and safety in the box and 8 in the box go away. And so it was just putting all the terms together. When you evaluate players, we often talk about the it factor.
Yes.
What is the it factor, and how do you define that?
You know, Eddie, there is a type of player that you've described that we want. And it's not about somewhat the size characteristic. It's the heart. It's the grit. It's the toughness. It's the ability to do more than what the normal person does. That's what's going to help TSU be great. And I think we have a template of what that looks like. I think the guys who are like gym rats, guys who like to be in the building, guys who like to study the game, guys who are always trying to find the history of the game, of who are the greats at their position, those are the guys that, to me, they have an edge. They really do.
Yeah, and that's why our pillars are tradition, entrepreneurship, education, and performance, because you have to know the history of the game.
Yes.
Especially at a storied program like Tennessee State University. You know, knowing all the great players that have come through here. I've asked some of the players, like, who is Ed Too Tall Jones?
Right.
You know.
Right.
Who? What? Like, hey.
You got to know
these things.
You have to know these things.
You have to know these things. And that's one thing that I could say growing up. I've always loved the game of football. Was a huge historian behind it. I mean, Walter Payton went to Jackson State.
Right.
You know, Jerry Rice came from HBCU. And the list goes on and on and on.
It does.
And it's important to understand when you put this helmet on, what you truly represent.
Right.
You know, and that leads me to this, of the athletes that we had a chance to evaluate, you know, who stands out to you on both sides of the football?
You know, there's so many because they're here. But when I think of Jeremy Hickbottom, because you kept pressing forward on him with me, and you said, Hugh, we need to take a look at this young man. He wants to be here. He understands the situation, but he wants to be here. And to me, that's half the battle. Yeah. You have to have people that want to be in this environment. Right. And he came in, and he put his head down, and he went to work. And he wasn't concerned about anything else other than, how can I make TSU better? How can I be the best quarterback for TSU? And he's demonstrated that.
You know what? When he first got here on his visit, what stood out to me was this. He came up for a visit.
Yes.
But his car was packed with all of his things.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
And to me, that said, I get chills when I think about it. I said, he came here for a purpose. It wasn't just to say, okay, let me meet Hue Jackson, see what Tennessee State's got going on, see if it's the right fit. He said, no, I'm coming here to make it a fit.
Yes.
He studied the staff. He's really stood out. And I think you're right. He is a culture changer in terms of how you go about your business.
Right.
What kind of advice would you give someone like a Jeremy Hickbottom, in terms of going from college to try to make it to the professionals? What kind of advice would you give him?
You know, the biggest advice I've given him is creating a process for himself to be the best he can be. And I don't think young men understand that. You have to have a process in order to get better. What does that look like from morning to afternoon? Now there's school that's involved tonight. How do you study when you're in the building and you're really involved in football? How do you study football when you're away from the building? What is your time limit? Do you put in 30 minutes or 2 hours, or do you just kind of flip the pages? So what I've tried to do is give him a roadmap on what that should look like, and he's really taken to that. You know, I believe the quarterback comes in early and he stays late. When you can. We have rules and we respect those, but at the same time, he can do as much as he's able to do and as much as he's willing to do, I probably should say. And I think he's taken that on because he had to learn a lot of information from me, from our offensive staff very quickly in order to be able to play quarterback the way we want him to play.
Right. How would you describe your coaching style?
Well, I'm fun. I'm energetic, but at the same time, I'm very demanding. I'm
very demanding.
I'm very demanding because I just think there's a way, Eddie, you have to get it out of young men. And I'm no different with our players here than what I was in the National Football League because I think that's just who I am. You know, I have an expectation of how guys should play, and what that expectation is for us to win.
Right.
So that I can't settle for just ineptness. We can't do that. We got to do it right. It's going to give us a chance to be successful, and I think the quarterback room understands that. Now, can we get there fast enough? That's our challenge, and I think we can.
You know, I truly believe in confronting mediocrity at all turns.
Oh, yes, you do.
At all turns, and that's something that I'm not going to do. I'm not here to maintain mediocrity. I'm here to build excellence, you know, and that's and to have someone like you reinforce that, especially on the offensive side of the football. I love watching you coach the offensive line.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's about footwork. It's about it's about being in unison. You know, having those same steps look the same and being consistent. Hat on the inside, hands inside, all the little nuances and details that we talked about, because those things truly make a difference.
Eddie, you know what was great for me is when you told me, Hugh, this is what I want our offense to be. And so I set that charge forward. You gave me the directive. I told the staff this is what we're going to be, and that's who we're going to be. And I've been fortunate to coach a lot of different places, a lot of different positions, being a head coach, coordinator, all that. The grind of the game is up front.
Yes, in the trenches.
And so if we can get our guys to understand how important they are, you know, we can talk about all the fluff guys, the quarterbacks, receivers, all those guys. But at the end of the day, it's the big men. They're the guys that control the game, that gives everybody else a chance to do it. So we're really grinding on our guys. I think they're improving each and every day.
They are.
They've come a long ways. You know, and I give a lot of that credit to Mark Hudson, yourself. You're over there challenging them too.
Oh, yeah.
So please, I want everybody to understand our head coach is over there with those guys each and every day as well. But I think they understand to play for you, you're going to run football. That's who you are. So that's a mindset and an attitude and mentality that we've taken on, and that's who we're going to be.
Yep. All right, Hugh, you ready for this halftime? So you ready for a TSU fun fact?
Yes, I am.
All right, here we go. I'm going to see if you got this. In 1971, the TSU Tigers football produced their biggest draft class. How many selections do you think it was?
Oh, wow. That's a tough question. You want me to guess this?
I'm pretty sure you know it, knowing all the stuff you know.
I don't know, Eddie. Maybe 3?
9.
9?
Led by first rounder Vern Holland.
Oh, my God.
Remember Vern Holland?
I heard of him, but 9?
9.
Wow.
It's incredible.
That is incredible.
Okay. Well, I'm going to shift gears a little bit because you're a man of many talents. You are a Renaissance man. yes, you are. You're not only a great head coach. You grew up in L.A.
Yes, sir.
You played quarterback at
Dorsey High School.
Dorsey. Hey.
Yes, sir. City champions.
City champ.
Yes, sir. 1983.
Now, which street you live on?
52nd and Hoover. I live above a church.
Hoover.
Yes.
You know, that reminds me of the movie Baby Boy.
Absolutely.
With Big Rage had Hoover on his back.
Yes, sir.
So it don't get no rougher, right?
Don't get any rougher. That's where I'm from.
That's right. So let me paint the picture. Okay, it's a Saturday evening in the summer. In the winter. Let's say in the winter. What is Hue Jackson doing in the off season with his time away from football?
Is this when I'm young or when I'm a little older?
Right now.
Oh, right now.
Yeah.
It's my family. It's my kids. It's my wife, Michelle. We've been married for 29 years.
What?
When I went to college, I met her. The first day I met her, I told her she's going to be my wife and mother of my kids.
You told her that?
I told her
first
that,
day.
and that's true. And she is. So she's been through these wars with me, and I appreciate her and my beautiful daughters. I have 3 daughters, 27, 24, and 12. So I spend my time with them as much as I can because I've given so much to football. And as you now know, it takes away a lot of the time you get with family. So it's been my chance to give back, and it's just been beautiful because now they've given it back to me.
Yes.
They said, hey, Dad, you've been here for 3 years, kind of watching us, spending time with us. Go do you. And so I'm very thankful for that.
Well, getting to know you in a very short time, I get a sense that you believe in diversification. You're not just a head coach. You have your own foundation. Yes. You have other businesses to kill a business. You're into cryptocurrency. You're into investing. So talk about the importance of being diversified, because some people think that, hey, you are a head coach and all you do is football, but there's so much more underneath the layer. That just kind of expand on that a little bit.
You know, Eddie, it's really amazing. When I was a head coach in my time in football, I had gone 34 straight years without ever not having a job. So when I got fired at Cleveland was the first time I was kind of out. And so I had to find other avenues in order to move in. You know, so you pivot and try to find other things to do. And that's when I started to learn more that there was a different world out there other than football. And because I didn't have the time. When you're really trying to grind and become the best at this profession and be one of the 32 head coaches in the National Football League, you don't have the time. And so I didn't understand money. I didn't understand how to truly make it other than earn it. I didn't understand there was all kind of different ways to make money and have money grow, you know. So I dove in head first and asked a lot of people that I trust, how do I make this transition? And some people really walked me through, from Grant Cardone, who's at Cardone Capital, who's a real good personal friend, to my business partner now in Grand Leander Tequila, who's a Black ownership. You know, we've really taken this brand and starting to scale it. Steve Ehrlich, who's with cryptocurrency with Voyager. You know, these people really spent the time giving me the information that I needed in order to better myself. And I kicked myself because I wasn't that interested when I was chasing becoming the best head coach I could be. And I get it, because you got to be great at something before you can ever branch off into all these other things. But I wish I knew more. And so now I'm trying to pass that back to my kids so they understand that there's other avenues out there to making money, and there's other avenues out there to being, you know, something other than what you thought you may be. I mean, sometimes you hit a speed bump, and you got to keep going forward. So it's been great.
So best investment was what?
My best investment was in me. It was really understanding what I needed to do in order to make myself better. I was so focused on coaching. You know, and let's just be honest, there's only been 19 minority head coaches in the history of the National Football League, and I've done it twice.
Damn.
So in order to do that, that was my focus, because I wanted that opportunity. But after that, when you realize that maybe that window's closed, what do you do? Because we don't go and become coordinators as minority coaches. You don't go and become the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. You kind of wait your turn to get back in line. It's hard. But so at the same time, I figured, hey, look, I don't want to just do it with anybody. That's why it was so special to be with you. I wanted to be with somebody I wanted to be with, not with I had to go do something that I didn't want to do.
Right.
So this has worked out perfectly for me.
Worst investment?
worst investment is with people that I didn't know and people that I didn't investigate. Look, everybody at some point in time has been taken in somehow, some way. And so you start learning that you really have to dig a little deeper when you're talking about finances, you know, and your time and your money, if you give it to someone and you fall for the okie doke, you can't get that back. And so I've had that happen, and you learn from it. You better learn quickly, because it can't keep happening. That's for sure.
And one of the things that I find so fascinating about you is that you are very passionate about your foundation. Why'd you start the foundation?
Well, me and my wife, we have seen firsthand the destruction of human trafficking. And so we made a decision when I became a head coach that we were going to do something about it. We wanted to make an impact. So we partnered with the Salvation Army in the Harbor Light District in Cleveland. We built a residence there. We have a residence there that houses human trafficking victims. It's still going strong. We hope to continue to fund it, help it be the best it could be. Kimberly Demer, she runs my foundation. She's outstanding. Matter of fact, we're doing something at our game, okay, because that's the weekend of missing children. You know, and there's a lot of missing children in Canton. So we're going to do something about that, bring that to, put it out front. You know, let's see if we can really help impact this issue that we have. It's $1 trillion industry.
Wait, hold on. Human trafficking?
$1 trillion industry.
You know, Hugh, honestly, I mean, I have to get the part of my ignorance. I thought that was something you see in third world countries where you're in, I guess, like Thailand or deep down in Mexico, but it's happening right here in our backyard.
In our backyard right now, and you'd be surprised at who it's happening to and the families that are involved. And it's sometimes the people's own people who are that are creating this. And so it's sad. It really is. So we're trying to do everything we can to give people the information to look for the signs of human trafficking so that we can stop this travesty.
Okay, well, man, that's phenomenal work, man. Just going to shift gears a little bit before we close out. Do you have any regrets?
Oh, absolutely, I do. When I think back to when you look at your kids and you have a 27, 24-year-old, you wasn't there. You know, you wasn't there all the time for the dance recitals, or you wasn't there all the time for the banquets, you know, because you couldn't be, because you were traveling. You know, you were with the team. But I think my kids understand now, because I've given them an opportunity to have the type of life that I've always wanted. You know, and so my mother always taught me, you make it better for your kids than it was for you.
That's right.
That's what you do. And so I think I've done that part. But my biggest regret is there's times that I think I wish I was there, that I couldn't be there.
All right, Hugh, so now it's time for our 2-minute warning rapid-fire questions.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to give you 5. All right, so you ready for the first one?
Yes, sir.
All right. What is your biggest phobia? I think I know what that is. I think there's quite a few. Filth. Dirty floors.
I can't take that, Eddie. I just can't.
Grass on your car.
I'm
your
kind of
OCD.
I'm kind of OCD about certain things, but the cleanliness thing is very important to me. Our staff knows that. There's a mop in my office. There's a broom in my office, and I do have Clorox. I like things to smell a certain way. But I mean, I just think it's the right environment for our players. You told me let's teach them not just on the field, but off the field. I want our guys to really get an experience on what it's like to be a pro as a person. You know, be the best you can be in all areas all the time. Don't mean everybody's got to be like me, but let's be respectful of everybody else, because you just don't know who you might affect.
Okay. Your biggest achievement so far?
My biggest achievement.
Let me rephrase that. What has been your greatest achievement so far?
My greatest achievement, obviously, it's my family.
Yeah.
But the thing I'm most proud of is when I got let go at Oakland because Al Davis died, I had to go coach on defense. I was the assistant secondary coach and a special teams coach. Marvin Lewis, who's one of my best friends, after a year over there, moved me back to offense. I started from the running backs and made my way back up to coordinator, and then became the offensive coach of the year in 2015. To me, to do that took a lot of grind. And so I'm very proud of that moment.
Wow. How did you start that process when you got, I guess, when you started off with the running backs and you built back up? When you say you grind, what did you do to actually grind?
You know, Eddie, it was really about letting go that I was the head coach at that time. I was just like anybody else. I was there to help serve, do what I was asked to do in the job, do it to the best of my ability, be one of the best on the staff that I could be for Marvin Lewis at that time, the same thing I'm trying to do for you, and just work and put your head down and don't worry about what's said, what needs to be done. I knew what I was capable of doing, and I knew if I had to start from the back and work my way back up, I knew I would. So, and that's exactly what happened.
Okay. Favorite era of music?
Oh wow, probably the 80s. I would say the 80s because there was some tremendous.
80s was rough.
I mean, some tremendous people who with vocals and people who performances and just, I'm a music buff. I like my music for sure. I kind of turn on the sound in the offensive staff room.
Yeah, I got you. You listened to Bobby Brown the other day. Yeah, the Brown Bomber.
We listened to it all.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So your one song that's on repeat right now is what?
Probably Luther Vandross.
Ooh,
Forever, for always, for love.
You kind of had that Luther vibe.
Oh, absolutely.
Too. Yeah.
Hey, Mom, as long as Mama's okay with it, I'm
okay
with it.
I hear you, man. And the last one, describe your perfect meal.
Wow. It's probably gonna be something my mom cooked. My mom was one of the greatest cooks in the world to me. I could go home and we didn't have any much food. At least I didn't think we did, but I can remember her walking in and opening up cupboards and taking food out of the cupboards and saying, where did this come from? And here's this 5-course meal. But when my mom fried chicken, everybody in the neighborhood wanted to be there. Let me tell you, because she understood how to do it at a high level. She was special that way.
Wow. Well, hey, man, thank you for taking time. I know we got some work to do. Get ready for this season, these games. It has been so far a wonderful opportunity, Hue. Thank you for joining me on Beyond the Roar. Appreciate you, brother.
Eddie, thank you. And
Absolutely.
I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I am so impressed by you, by your leadership, not just of our staff, but our players.
Appreciate
what
it.
you're doing is changing, man. And I have to speak to this because the night you stood there and gave our players a chance to find out who you were was special. To me, that will go down in one of my biggest memories of my life because that was huge. Because most head coaches don't do that. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me with the incredible Hue Jackson. It was an incredible time here with us. I hope you got something out of it. I know I did. Until next time, go Big Blue.